frozen problems.
No, they're cold, but they're good. They're hot.
Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ted, please do a roll call.
Supervisor Craig. Here. Supervisor Thorne.
Here.
Chairman Schaller.
Here.
Supervisor Bromer.
Here.
And Supervisor Wolford.
Here. First item on the agenda will be citizens' concerns. Anyone here wishes to address the town board? Can I get a motion to go into public comment?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mitch and a second by Bob. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Who wants to start?
Jeff's got his hand up in the back there.
Jeff Bellevue, 1503 Caroline Street, a couple of them on the agenda. Under E and G, you got the approval for EMS, fire department for non-residents. Here not too long ago, you had a lady that was on the tri-state that wanted to get on and move over here. I don't think she's done that. She's not on there, I don't believe. And anybody else that tries to get on unless they work or live in the town of Campbell, I don't think the board should approve them either. And the other thing for fireworks, I think we should be charging anywhere from $300 to $400 for permits. And other than that, people are still shooting them off. And I know one person, I'm not going to mention the name, but he keeps waking people up at night when they got to work early in the daytime. So I think they need to really consider not having fireworks in the town of Campbell next year. Thank you.
Go ahead, Joanne.
Joanne Schaller, 2312 Bainbridge. Just wondering what the status was for this intersection out here.
We've talked about putting taking the stop sign on the road. That's about as far as we've gotten with it.
Is it going to get done soon? Because I pulled out of our driveway this afternoon after Terry got home, and I was at the stop sign waiting for a lady to come off of Sky Harbor onto Bainbridge, and a lady pulled out of the Days Inn in a newer Jeep and come up on my left-hand side and started running right through the stop sign. And I got up next to her, I rolled down my window, and I had my grandson in the back seat, and I said, "What are you doing? There's a stop sign there." Somebody was coming off of Sky Harbor onto Bainbridge. It's going on day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute.
Yeah, I think this we're going to try first is because we've looked into the lighted stop signs and they're pretty expensive, the ones with the solar power and everything. So we're going to just try putting some signage on the road to try to catch people's attention. They come around the corner and they're not seeing the stop sign. That's I think what's going on. But
Even when they come straight down from up by the catwalk, they run the stop sign. It doesn't matter which direction they're coming from over there by our house. They run it every time.
okay, we'll try to get that sign on the road.
Okay.
Go ahead, Pete.
Is there any rule on that stop sign where it's gotta be 8 feet high? To lower it down a little ways to make sure people will be able to see it?
Yeah, I'm not positive, but we could check. Yeah, or maybe we could put one at a couple different heights. Signs are pretty cheap.
And then put a flashing one there beside.
Okay, I'll check into it.
Even if you have to, put one over in our yard by our mailbox. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't
just to
care.
try to-
Do something out there at that intersection. It's dangerous.
We'll check on it.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, Chad, what's up with that August date? Set the date for the August meeting.
That Tuesday's the election, so we have to.
Is this going to be another day that week, or a week before, a week after?
Whatever the board decides to set the date for August.
You don't have a preference, huh?
Typically, I hope not a Monday or a Wednesday, but
Friday.
Friday works.
Anything else, Bruce?
Yeah, about the sewer agreement, can you kind of expand on that a little bit with the city of La Crosse?
City's looking to push it out till next year.
Was it up this year or what? So they want to keep everything the same until next year?
That's what they're proposing.
Any reason for that? Or?
I can speculate, but that's it.
It's kind of strange with them. Mitch, you know anything about that house down on 1715 Bainbridge? They started tearing it down and then it's been sitting for months. They got the siding off it.
Oh, is that the old Rebels?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know who's doing that. But I'll check on it. I'll
Almost
check
looks
on
like
it.
it should be.
I've been giving a lot of attention to the neighbor next door.
Oh.
But yeah, I'll check on it and get back to you first. I'll give you a call at home.
You've been doing a lot of nothing on that house for a long time.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, Ralph, the budget adjustment for streets and roads, can you enlighten us on that one?
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but as you know, obviously you know, the roads on the island are in horrible shape. I get calls daily. Some of them are worse than others, and we're trying to get some of the chip seal done that didn't get done last year. In order to do that, some of the costs went up, and to do it right, we're gonna have to patch some of the stuff up. I will elaborate on that a little bit more when we get to it, though.
Any word on the grant money?
No, we should be finding out soon, though. They said mid-July, so I'm anxiously waiting. That as soon as we hear, yeah, I'm hoping by next meeting we will have that work.
The budget adjustment, is that just gonna be for chip sealing, or are you gonna go forward with some other stuff?
There's a couple other things in here too, so it'll depend on how much of it we want to do. I've got like 3 different sections, so some of it's chip seal and some of it's just filling in some really bad spots. So
Gonna do some patching?
Yeah, some overlay on an area. So just to get some of these areas through, and it's just a start. And we got some roads that if we don't do something to, we're just going to change them to gravel because they're going to fall apart.
That's it for now.
Thanks, Bruce. Anybody else? Go ahead, Lee.
So, do we have any update on, have we gotten anywhere on the border agreement or any work further that's been done since last month?
Not by me.
No.
I mean, the agreement is the agreement. It's just something specific.
No, I'm just asking if we've done any more research, if we figured anything else out, if we're getting anywhere closer towards being able to check off all those check boxes. If the state has said, well, this isn't going to happen, I mean,
Well, from my conversation with Eric, he said that we pretty much can check the box, and he did recommend that we look at the Richfield incorporation because they do not have a water system either, and they were successful. So, other than that, I haven't gone any farther with it at this point.
so you haven't checked into the Richfield?
I haven't looked at it yet. No.
I have a feeling that question's going to be coming up a lot here in the next couple of years.
So we do have a water system. We've got a
Yeah.
water utility.
Yes, we do.
We do.
Question about item E. How many members do we have on the fire EMS current active?
I think we're at 31 total. Fire and
So maybe you can correct me. When I was on the board, or when Bruce and I were on the board, we went through and you guys had an amendment to your bylaws, and the amendment was to remove some language. And I questioned the language about it because the language stated no more. Basically, it was 30, no more than 30. So, are we? Can you clarify whether I'm wrong or if?
So that amendment was added when fire and EMS consolidated, the first responders and the fire department came together, because both organizations together had more than the 30 that were in the fire department bylaws at that time.
Okay. So the language doesn't say more than, it just says 30.
Right.
If I remember right.
Well,
So
those bylaws, the original bylaws said that we couldn't have more than 30. The revised bylaws removed that language.
Okay. For item H, we discussed this 2 years ago. Kelsey, why are we bringing this back up?
Because I think we need to come to a conclusion. We need to have it done and off the table and not discuss it anymore. It seems to be
Also, after 2 years, it's finally.
a thorn in a lot of people's sides, good and bad. So. just want to discuss it.
Was
We're
there
not
a
voting on it.
particular item that caused this, or?
I'm just sick of hearing about it, to be honest. Something needs to be done.
Alright. My 10,000 words.
Okay. Anybody else?
You know, one more. Mitch, you're looking at putting a water system in over here at some point?
Putting in a water system? I don't know.
Well, as far as what you talked about with this board agreement.
Well, the Richfield incorporated without having a water system,
Okay.
so they recommended that we look at their incorporation
Oh.
for that language.
I
I mean, we
misunderstood.
have a water utility and,
Right.
you know, and a small system down the south end of
Right.
the island. But no, I'm not looking at putting in a water system.
Yeah, I
at this
misunderstood
point.
you. I thought you said Richfield had a water system.
No, they do not have water. They have wells just like we do.
Anything else, Bruce?
So for now.
Anybody else? Can I get a motion to call public comment?
So moved.
I'll second that. Motion by Bob, second by Terry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's go down the consent agenda, items A through C. If there's no action taken on the consent agenda, can I get a motion? Everybody got the revised one?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that. I got a motion by Mitch, second by Terry. Any discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Let's move down to 5A. Keith Lease request to hold home run, a walk run fundraiser on August 4th, 2018. Chad?
I'm actually here for Keith Lees.
Thank you.
Don't look like him. So I am a member of the committee for the home run, and it's a run that benefits Cooley Council on Addictions, which has now become the Cooley Recovery Center. And because I'm filling in, I don't quite know what all he reports on. So I just wanted to let everybody know that we've done all of our due diligence with the City of La Crosse for permits. They've all been approved. It's basically going to be exactly the same as it was last year, a 5K and a 10K run starting at 8 a.m. We begin at Logger Field, crossover by the Hardys, run down the street, and then I have the exact route for the two different runs if anybody would like to see that. We've been working with Nathan Casper, your town of Campbell PD, for our police sites at the different corners where runners have to cross. I just want to thank the town of Campbell for allowing us to have this run here. It's very helpful for the Cooley Council on Addictions. And see if anybody has any questions, or I don't know if I can answer anything, but I will try. Keith was not able to be here today, so.
You got anything, Drew, that you want to add? No? All right.
After several years, when we've been a problem, they've been very organized, and Nathan Casper's on top of it. We've got, we notified the fire department, she's organized, corresponded, and very nice. So first responders out there, we're good to go. No issues.
So it'll be the first Saturday of August. So it might be a little slow going that day, but the run isn't that long, so we appreciate your patience. Anything else?
Any
You
discussion?
made my life easy today, thank you.
I'll second that. I got a motion by Kelsey, second by Terry. Any further discussion? Call the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Let's move down to 5B. Set date for August 2018, regular board meeting. Chad?
Again, this happens every 4 years when the primary comes about, so it's on Tuesday, the whatever date that is, the 14th. So just need to move to approve or move the meeting to a different date.
Tuesday before or Tuesday after?
In the past, we've always done the Wednesday after,
Wednesday.
but again, that's kind of up to you. I prefer
might not be able to make it.
So whatever is more convenient for all of you.
Wednesdays is hard for me.
I mean, we could do the Tuesday after as well.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with that. Wow.
Tuesday, the 21st of August.
Sounds good to me.
Make a motion to approve the regular board meeting in August, and we move to August 21st, Tuesday.
I'll second that. I got a motion by Mitch, second by Terry. Any further discussion? I'll call a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Let's move down to 5C, 2019 Cooperative Recycling Agreement. Mitch?
Yeah, we have the recycling agreement again that encompasses most of the jurisdictions within LaCrosse County, and no real changes to it. This will extend the agreement through December 31st, 2019. And then I just need to sign off on that.
One thing real quick, I know other municipalities have done this in the past, is done a kind of a blanket recommendation or blanket approval. This is a yearly thing.
So we don't have to bring it up every year?
You know, I would recommend that you give approval to sign this to whoever sits in the seat, you know, on a yearly basis, unless the board decides at some point to bring it back and terminate the agreement. But just makes it easier than bringing it back every year.
Sounds good.
It's a pretty static agreement, nothing much changes in it, so.
You want to make the motion on Mitch?
Okay, a motion that we approve the recycling agreement and give the health education and welfare supervisor the ability to sign off on that agreement every year without board approval.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? I'll call a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Let's move down to 5D. Approval of an extension of current sewer service agreement with the City of La Crosse through December 31st, 2019. Tom?
So I talked with the city. They had just requested, or they would like to extend the agreement. Usually we have to negotiate it every 2 years, but they're just going to extend it to 2019. I'm guessing they're looking to make some changes after that point. So at this point, I mean, if the current agreement just stays in place, we push out the next debate on how we're going to negotiate services. So that's really pretty much it. Nothing. The reason, the whys and what fors, I guess, is not available to us. But whereas the current rate, it's not going to go up at least for another year. So
Yeah.
just need a formal, because we're the sewer board as well. So I move to extend the existing agreement to 2019 per the City of La Crosse.
I'll second that. I got a motion by Bob, second by Terry. Any further discussion?
This isn't the actual agreement, right? Because the date's incorrect.
This, I don't know, this is just the
This is
back,
just-
this is
okay.
the back page. But
Well, it says December 31st, 2018.
Period ending December 31st.
So yeah, we're already beyond it, and they're just saying, hey, we're not ready, can you extend it? So
Any further discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Let's move down to 5E. Approval of fire EMS non-resident members. Ralph?
The fire department contacted me. They interviewed, I believe, EMS personnel, fire personnel. I wasn't at the meeting.
So there were, if I can.
Yeah, you can.
There were two folks. One is a fully trained firefighter and also has a nationally registered EMT, so they can do fire and EMS. The other one is a firefighter that is a certified firefighter with CPR certification, so they do fire.
And they have all their training.
Yes, they're fully trained, currently certified, and both live off the island, but they're very close, so they'd be able to respond in a timely manner for us.
Would they be available during the day?
One of them is, and the other one works too far away to respond during the day.
Okay.
So they'd have evenings and weekends.
Any more discussion? Can I get a motion?
Well, I have a question. Do we have a need to hire more members? I mean, is that?
Yeah. So at this point, I would say, we measure our response capabilities by national standards. And the national standard requires us to have an assembly of a certain number of firefighters within so many minutes, 80% of the time. And most of the time, we've done pretty well meeting that standard, but we have had a couple situations lately. One of them became very public, where we didn't have the minimum number, and this would be helpful in that kind of a situation. So in terms of do we need more people, it's not about the number of people we have, it's about our ability to provide an effective response.
So the chief on the training, I know we have pretty much a fixed pool of residents, obviously, within, and then the commitment for training, and once you join them and become part of it, to complete all that. What is it? I can't remember. I think it was like a year. What was that? Take you through it all. That was it.
So the state minimum requirement is a course called Entry Level Firefighter, which has 2 parts. It's a total of 60 hours, but it usually takes about a semester for people to complete that. Our department actually exceeds the state's minimum requirement. We require Firefighter 1, which is an additional 30 hours of training. Most of our firefighters, with the exception of only a couple, have actually completed Firefighter 2, which is 30 hours on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So each of those classes is a semester block. So it takes about a year and a half for somebody to get to Firefighter 2 if the classes line up together.
So that's what it was. It was entry level, and then firefighter 1 was where it used. Now it was like a year.
Yep.
So the folks that you're looking at, they've already completed all 3 parts, or the first one?
So one of them is a certified Firefighter 1 and is willing to complete Firefighter 2. The other is a certified Firefighter 2 and also a nationally registered EMT, which is another 175 hours. Is that right? It's a big chunk, which exceeds our minimum requirement, which is emergency medical responder.
So again, I mean, as far as responding from, like if it's the City of Cross, you can't, no emergency response till you get on the island, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't use any lights or anything like that until they're on the island, and honestly, until they pass their probationary period, they wouldn't be doing anything.
Yeah, right. And then let's go back on the certified. That means they went and took the test. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh.
So in order for a firefighter to become certified, they have to take the classes, pass a written exam, and then pass a practical exam that's governed by the state of Wisconsin. It's usually at one of the technical colleges. So they have to show they can perform the skills. They don't just take a test.
Both got the training and one did the certification.
Both are certified.
Oh, they're both certified too?
Yes.
So the day response has always been the greatest challenge, and we're able to fill some of that. We're with one of the folks. We're able to augment.
Yeah, one of the candidates said that he would be available all the time during the day, and the other candidate said that he'd be able to leave for big calls, but he does work a job that takes him all over the area, so there'd be various degrees of ability to respond depending on where he is.
Have we had non-resident members in the past?
Yes.
And just like a year ago, I think we denied somebody, right? She went, we're gonna have to move.
There was an EMT advanced
She was gonna move here or something, right?
that the board decided at that time that if she were interested in getting on the department, that she should move here. She lived on the north side on Alaska Avenue.
Yeah, that's right. Because she would have. She was saying or indicated she wanted to move to the island.
Yeah, I thought she wasn't here.
She told us at that time that she was willing but not able to for a while, like a year lease or something like
Was she
that.
the one that had somebody that was with them that was sick or something?
I don't know. She was an EMT advanced, which is an even higher level training. That's why she went for Tri-State.
Well, the state now says you cannot deny somebody. They don't have to live within the city or village or town.
So with Act 10, it's a 15-mile radius.
Oh.
You can't deny someone within 15 miles.
Okay. Go ahead, Drew.
Speak. Covered days, all the time. And I will say, without a doubt, our first responders, as far as response on a regular basis, are the best in the county. I can tell you that Shelby, on occasion, will get a first responder call, and very few people will respond sometimes. Other communities as well. When there's only one officer working during the day, it's a blessing and honor. We've got 2 and 3 and sometimes 4 first responders available to get these calls far advanced level of training than what any of my officers have. And if you can have someone with that level of experience available during the day, and they're able to respond within a reasonable amount of time, this is my personal opinion. I'm not a resident of the town, but it seemed like it would be awfully counterproductive to deny that request. It helps my officers in my department as well, so there's a benefit to my department as well to have someone at that level of training and able to respond.
Thanks, sir.
Just to go back or do, because Kelsey or folks brought up a good point. So the other, when we had the other one, it wasn't a, it was a, what should we call it? Dependency. I think we just were basically holding off till if at some point she moved out. I don't think it was a, right? I mean,
I think we did it. We approved it pending her moving to French Island.
to the island.
and that just never happened. So I guess I just wanted to be clear on precedence here that it wasn't a denial. It was a pending. We thought we would just wait on that deal. So I guess that being said, I mean, I'm especially with Chief's endorsement. I think as a consumer of that product, I would like to have the best people that we can get if they're available, willing to share, and they're within that response parameter. They've already done the stuff. I mean, I think it behooves us anyway to take available talent that's willing to join. So, yeah, especially I guess if you look at the qualifier that they've already committed to training and certification process, which is they could be on a paid department, is what I'm getting from that.
Both have been on other departments previously, also. So they have previously served.
Okay.
Is it something that we can monitor in the future to make sure that they're just not showing up for some training and that they're actually showing up to calls? I mean,
So our bylaws require a certain number of trainings, attendance, but not a certain number of calls. So
I realize that, but I mean, if we're, I do payroll every month, and I see those certain individuals that they're here once every 3 months to make their certification or the required training, and they don't show up to calls.
So if someone is keeping current training and keeps up with company level training, which is our in-house training, they're certified to do the job. The number we look at is the number of people that are turning out. So do we have enough to meet our effective response standards? And can we do that? And as a volunteer organization, it's very difficult to dictate without having duty crews or duty shifts or something like that. How often folks are obligated to respond.
I realize. I mean, I understand that part of it.
Well,
I'm just concerned from a money standpoint. Are we just paying for somebody to get certified?
Well, these guys, I agree with you, but they've already done not only the entry level training and next level, or entry level on firefighter 1 or that, but the next level of certification. So I guess if we could take advantage of it, that's where I'm at. And I worked with, there's a couple of them in here right now that have served long time. At some point, I'm concerned that some of our first responders definitely have fulfilled their community obligation on the number of calls that they've attended. So, at some point, I know we're going to probably have to add it if we can get them in early. That's just looking at it from a personnel and having somebody who's able to spool up quickly. So, it seems to make sense to me. But
any further discussion?
I'm just more like on not a probationary period, but if in a year's time you see that they're just showing up for 4 trainings and no calls.
I completely agree with you. If we're not getting, and I guess I'm going to kind of leave that to department heads to regulate that better, you know.
If we had that exact situation, Chad, yeah, the trustees would take care of that.
Mhm.
And we have had that.
Oh, yeah, I'm not doubting, I just,
Any
I
more?
just know Ronnie's got a cast on her hand.
Now I'll be responsible for a while.
Who the first responder was in that call.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
So you know, just looking back on the other one, I know we had that kind of that pending or motion. So as far as precedence goes, I guess knowing that, then, you know, we have to potentially revisit at some point. You've got some parameters, so it's not just like, hey, everybody come in, right? I mean, specific requirements to fulfill, especially, I don't know if it's a little more strict for outside of the area, but.
Well, sometimes we receive applications from people that, I mean, they couldn't even get here in a reasonable amount.
Right.
We wouldn't even carry those forward. You know, these are literally seconds away from our borders, which is why we're bringing them forward. If it were something like, you know, somebody lived in Chocolo and wanted to respond here, that wouldn't work.
Yeah. You said the roster, the role, right now the roster's at how many?
31.
31.
But keep in mind, of those 31, some are trained in EMS only, some are
Right.
trained in
Yep.
fire only,
Yep.
so we don't have 31 firefighters, it's 31 part of the agency.
I mean, there was a time we had like 33 just firefighter, right? Yeah.
And that's across the nation, volunteer departments are having trouble keeping their rosters full. You know, volunteerism is a declining thing. People are busier during the day, so finding people that are willing, they're gems.
Plus the training required more and more.
I know there's a new government program out there that does allow for, what is it, for every dollar the town chips in, the government chips in $2 into like a retirement. It's a new thing that they just put out in 2017. You know, it's something that we could probably look at. I mean, if the town's willing to do that, I think it's a help with that problem that's going on and to maybe get some retention.
If you have any information on that, I'd love to take a look.
So I moved to allow the fire department, unless Ralph wants to make a motion, but the non-resident members, according to whatever their bylaws and restrictions are.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Bob and a second by Ralph. Any further discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no.
No.
Motion carries 3-2, right?
Yes.
Let's move down to 5F, budget adjustment, additional funds for street and road improvements. Ralph?
All right. Like we said when the meeting was starting, we didn't get any chip seal done last year. I'm trying to play a little catch up and get not ahead of the game, but at least try to maybe get a little bit caught back up to things. So I've got I've got some pictures. And Steve can talk about it a little bit too. But basically, what I want to do, I want to chip seal down all of North Bainbridge, from Footbridge all the way up to Fanner Reed, which, and I have the chip seal in my budget. There is some bad areas in the road that we need to take care of to do the chip seal. They're going to run about $8,600 for the bad areas, and then I want to rework that area under the footbridge, which is we got a couple pictures of the footbridge, and we're going to rework that so it actually drains into the right area, so we can actually fix the problem and keep it fixed. So Bainbridge is the biggest deal I have, and I also have Pierce put in with that. Pierce needs about $3,500. It's got two bad areas that we need to saw cut and patch before we would do the chip seal on. In order to do just Bainbridge and Pierce, the additional work would be $25,100, and we'd get a 5% discount off of that. I also have, they're really bad area in Winona and Grand that I got a price for. And I think we got a picture of that in there too somewhere.
Page 2.
Page 2,
Page
top
2.
right.
Top right.
That one would run $4,000 to fix. And I've had multiple phone calls on that one too. I get multiple phone calls from a lot of areas, but we're trying to fix stuff that we can do without taking, $250,000 loans out to fix.
It's a safety hazard every year with kids getting on and off the bus there. You got a ice patch that's all the way across the road, 70, 80 foot back. You get called on.
And then the last section is not a chip seal, or I guess, it's more of an overlay between the Crescent. It's a crescent between church and all of that. And to go in there and do an overlay, it's going to run, we didn't get an actual, about $12,500 to do that, and I guess a little high. And we did that estimate off the other estimates we actually got. So that should be pretty
The
accurate.
road is shot, and if we continue to plow it, we won't have road left. It's like 2-inch alligator, the whole thing. And it still has good structure underneath it, that's why I recommend the overlay. I think the overlay would help the drainage issues that we have there. The ditches are there, but there are like bunkers in the way, so probably your least expensive way to do something like that. If you wait till next year, you're probably gonna have to, it's gonna cost more, guaranteed.
Do we have enough money to extend that on the Church Drive a little bit? There's a section right past,
You got two big
right past
sections.
Lee's house to the west, that's in pretty bad shape.
We were talking about that, and if you do that and you add drainage, you're talking probably $70,000 to replace that street
Okay.
with the drainage. And when you go down to Sharon Church, you've got another 50,000 EV project that has to be done there.
That's a real mess too down
Money
there.
where we just don't have it, definitely has a need.
So we're definitely not ignoring church. We just know it's going to be bigger than
No,
what we can do here.
Yeah.
So we're going to start working on that next. One of the things we're going to work on next. So I kind of broke this into 3 sections. We got Bainbridge and Pierce, and like I said, the additional funding would be $25,100 for that. All this we'd get a 5% discount on. And then Winona and Grand would be $4,000. This other section, the Crescent between church and all of that, would be about $12,500. Total for all 3 is $41,600 minus the 5% discount is $39,520. Obviously, I'd like to do all 3, but just present it to you.
All 4.
Yeah, all 4.
Is there any money in the street budget?
Well, we've got enough money in the street budget to do the chip seal part of it. It's these additionals that are, and we've been pretty conservative with the budget. We sat down and met. This will definitely keep us to where we're under the budget still. Going in, and we were under budget last year when we came in at the end of the year. We didn't get any of this stuff done. I know that money all goes back into the pot. It's not like it just goes back into the streets and roads for the next year. It wasn't a lot, but we were a little under.
We have the money to do Bainbridge and Pierce, just the chip sealing, but you can't do the chip sealing unless you do these spots. That's what it's all about. If you don't do the spot fixes, you can't even do the chip sealing.
Is it 2022 for the replacement of the catwalk? Is that the year that's slated for the state?
I believe so.
2022 is.
So we got 4 years.
You were supposed to get a letter 6 or 7 years previous. I don't know how you received it. I've heard that date, but they always said they give you a 6-year bunker.
It's all combined with like 9 other footbridges in the state.
Did you get a letter saying they're doing it? And that's where I'm at, is when I've talked to the state people, that they're going to notify you 6 years prior. If you haven't received it yet, that's extended.
And
That's the way I would understand it. So
probably going to push back then.
if you don't have a letter, I would say yes, then push it back.
Well, then it's worth doing the repair, that's for sure. I mean,
Well,
it's 4 years
footbridge-
anyway.
It's a footbridge, if you look at it, I mean, it's becoming a walking hazard, a tripping hazard at the bottom to it, and it's not safe. In my opinion, I think what you have is the old road there before they put the footbridge in, they just scabbed over it.
Yeah, that's kind of what they did.
You
when
have
they-
surface rust there when you do this. I I call it surface rust. So it's something that, it looks ugly. There's nothing you can do. You can't put coal mix on it. It's just, next time you plow it, it's all in your yard. So I mean, it's all. There are different ways of fixing this. The only thing that really is reasonable is to take it out and redo it. It has its challenges because of the drainage that we're trying to do. I think the price is very reasonable given the challenge. And again, the safety for the people walking it. A lot of people use that footbridge.
So you're looking to just adjust your budget basically, Ralph, from what you originally put in there?
Correct.
Spend it on this project versus what,
But he's looking for additional funding.
Additional funding
from
from the budget, yeah.
reserves.
How much more would come out of reserve?
Based on these two projects that they put together, looks like about 15,000.
And I didn't use, my tree estimate came in 15,000 less than that. I estimated 46 and it came in at what, 32 or 33?
Yeah.
So 13,000.
Or I guess you could budget adjust from that. You don't have any other, you don't foresee any other tree money needed?
So,
Well, I guess it depends. I'm not sure where the removal of these trees that Mitch gave approval is coming out of.
It's gonna come out of my budget somewhere.
I don't got any money.
so
The storm damage.
when you do a church right there, that section, you said to do the other part, it's going to be so the part that extends down to
Church.
or
He's doing the crescent between church and all of that.
yeah. Is it what crescent?
According to the county map, it's the Crescent Street.
I think it's actually Caroline.
No, Caroline is the next
Oh
one.
yeah, it is the crescent. Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
the next one down here.
I was just looking at the picture of it. Yeah.
It's not a heavily used road, and if you decide you want to make it a gravel road, so be it.
No, what I was thinking was
If you don't do something now, that's what it's going to be.
no, because I know that part. With you, actually, most of that whole road, well, both of those really are seem like they're getting pretty tough. But I know past Lee's house there, that whole block. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're gonna go into it, if you're kind of pre-spending next year's budget almost already, streets and roads is what I'm thinking. But the only reason I'm asking is if you're gonna get a better deal on it, if you're gonna pre-spend out of it anyway, because that's what you're asking for.
Yeah.
That'd be
You know what I mean?
that'd be $150,000 to $200,000 project
Well, a lot of things are hinging on whether we get this
to do the
grant
whole
money,
street.
too. I mean, if we don't get this grant money, we're definitely going to rethink all of our projects.
Yeah.
With the money that we're planning to spend.
Yeah, if that doesn't go through, we'll probably be back to step one and figuring out our budget. And some of those things might still be in there, but that opens up
That road will
the rest of
definitely
the island that we could look at.
That area needs it really bad. It will be in there.
Right now, I would say that Church Drive is probably the worst street in French Island.
It is pretty bad.
Yeah,
It's
horrible.
bad.
I would agree. There's some that follow very closely. So, yeah.
Once we patch the holes, it's what it is, you know? It's not so broken up like some others, like this road that I'm talking about. When I say it's 2-inch alligator, it's 2 inches everywhere. There's nothing left. It's disintegrated, you know? You don't get any worse than that, other than until you get to the gravel point. You know, when you're looking at that Pier Street one there, that, let's look at the picture of 202 on page 2 on the bottom right. That's gone. There's no road left at where that is, you know. And when you go down the road there, for the price that we're getting here of, what is it, Ralph?
For Pierce to put the stuff on
It's
it?
like $4,500 for the chip seal, and then
Yep.
$3,000 for the.
Yeah, Pierce is $3,500 for the
patchwork.
patches, you know.
You're going to end up with a road that's very usable. It's going to last another 15 years. You know, so
Yeah,
when you're getting
you're upgrading that road to being good and new. When you're talking that Leeds area on Church Street, you need to add drainage, or you're not gonna fix it. So now you're talking more money, to do it right. When you go down to Sharon in the church, the drainage there there's good drainage there, it just doesn't get to it. So I mean, there's quite a bit of work that needs to be done there. So, you got 110 feet of curb that needs to be replaced too. And the way they have it drained is unbelievable how they designed it back in the day. I mean, it needs to be redone.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And that part of the road is that's totally shot. I agree with that one. You have the whole area over there on First Avenue, Second Avenue, and stuff like that. It's starting to disintegrate pretty bad too. So. We've been working our way through from the north end. Some of the south end we've been working on too. So this grant money is going to make a big difference in what direction we'll go with also. And future projects, I think. Other than that, Chad was saying what you can keep our money every 3 years.
It kind of was a
In a way.
plan.
Where we get our $500,000
roll
budget to roll and roll and roll. So we're trying to get something done right now, so that we don't have to revisit them areas. That's sort of where my thinking is. Yes, there are bigger stuff out there, but that's the part that's bigger. If you want to give us $250,000, we'll fix it all. We'll fix the things you just talked about. We ain't gonna fix it all.
Well, Kelsey brings up a good point. Without having to dip into the reserves, we could just budget adjust from the remainder of what's left in that tree. Move that over to streets and roads.
I'm good with that. How do you guys want to do it?
Let's kind of leave it open-ended. Can we make a motion to approve it with the budget adjustment, 15,000? If that's where the money comes from, fine.
So I got 39,520. We just make it even 40.
Yeah, it would be 25 from current budget this year plus the 15 from remainder of the tree thing.
Okay. Can I make that motion?
The only discussion I got is where'd you get the bids from?
I think it's the one that gave us Swell and Scott for our chip seal. So
Okay.
two different companies there. We're using Scott. They're going to be in La Crosse doing some work. So we're getting the Elks are here already, and we're going to discount with Pickett because we're doing a lot of stuff with them.
Mitch, you made the motion?
I think Ralph
did.
Oh, Ralph did? All right. I'll second that. Any further discussion? I'll call the motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Let's move down to 5G. Possible fee for issuance of fireworks permits. Well, like I always said there should be a fee for them permits, and Shelby has fees for theirs. Wednesday night I had a conversation with the police officers, and they told me that there should be fees for them permits. And I don't know if anybody else had any discussion. Yep, go ahead, Chad.
Just one thing to clarify on the fees that Shelby does is they allow permit or fireworks 4 days prior and 4 days after. They do not charge, they waive that fee.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, like for weddings and things like that, they issue a permit and that's the $300. So.
Yeah, I didn't get any paperwork, so I'm really to carry it over till next month. Somebody, if we want to get some language from other towns or villages.
Yeah, I did. I know on, I think it was the 4th, after 11 o'clock, there seemed to be a couple of areas that were still going off. So I got in my truck and the one was just down the road. And actually, officers were just leaving. They had already shut it down. And I mean, from that, I guess in our area, it was pretty, a random one here and there, which, it's pretty hard to track that down. But, I mean, those guys were there and took care of it. Like, lickety split, had it shut down. And So kudos to the PD, 'cause I know it is a busy 4th of July night, 3rd and 4th.
I know it got pretty quiet after 10:30, but
Yeah, I think I agree with you.
Yeah, they seem to shut down.
The ones behind you, Mitch, remember, were you on 4th?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were kind of off. Yep. So, anyway, yeah. We'll
somebody want to make a motion and carry it over till next month?
move to hold over the fireworks permits to next month.
I got a motion by Bob and a second by Ralph. Any further discussion? Call a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Let's move down to 5H. Discussion on fire EMS training room use. Kelsey?
I just think we've been going around and around prior to me even being on the board, and I guess I'd just like to come to a conclusion. Either town board members, police if they need to, can use the room if necessary. Instead of it just being locked. I understand the reasons for it being locked. It is town property. So I just wanted to discuss it with everybody, and maybe next month we can come to a conclusion if we're going to allow us as board members to use it, or the police if they need it, and it not being locked. Like, that's one of your guys' input. I know there's important information in there that's typically locked in those other rooms unless someone's working on something. They might be out. Is what you had said.
So sometimes that information is out in that room because they worked on it for a few hours and went home and they're coming back tomorrow to do it, and I mean that kind of stuff. We don't. It's a working area. It's the administrative area for the fire department.
So I guess I kind of thought we had figured this all out, but maybe not.
I don't think so, because
I kind of thought we had, but
the
Did we figure
police.
this all out?
No, we gave the approval for the police to use it, but not for. They use it upon when they need it, and they have to give a 24-hour notice. I feel as a town board member, I have the right to walk into this building, grab a key, and go in there if I want to go in there and use it. If I need to have a meeting with anybody that is coming in, I don't feel like coming in and sitting here with one person it's just awkward.
Then we build a meeting room in the other room? The smaller one?
I don't like that one either because people can hear. This is my personal opinion, and I'm unfortunately entitled to it. So I don't feel we have come to a conclusion. I think it still is a thorn in some people's sides. It definitely isn't mine. If you guys are all okay with it, then that's. I'll just keep bringing it up.
Have you guys got after that last meeting kind of a working thing, or do we need to work out a little more detail on how
That
to
has
get
nothing
access?
to do with that. That's not what I'm getting at. I feel like I should have the right
Okay,
to use it.
I'm just making sure before I move
That's
this.
the fire guy.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, I personally don't need to go in the room that I guess if I do, I'm going to get a hold of the chief, and that's where I'm at on it. I don't.
I'm on the department, and I don't have a key for the room, and I don't want one.
I just don't think a room should be necessarily off limits to the town board.
I don't, and it's not.
If there's some special circumstance.
I just don't feel like I should have to give you 24-hour notice. If I want to walk in here and I decide I want to use that room, I have the right to use that room. I don't feel like I need to give you 24-hour notice and have someone come out from wherever they're at, bother them during dinner or whatever, even though you might not mind it. I just don't feel like I should have to do that. I might use it once, but I should have the right to be able to use that room.
Do you feel the same way about the police department?
I can walk in there whenever I ring on that doorbell.
And then that's giving them some notice, right? If there's a firefighter here and you want to go in there, it's okay. You just have to
You
tell
guys have
someone.
another section. You have a whole other area. I just feel like I should have a
That's a
space
good
that
point, and that's a smaller room that you're more than welcome to use. I think that's.
I don't want to use that room. I want to use that one.
It sounds to me like you just want it because you can't have it, but that's just my opinion.
Right. So, do we need to at this point? Do we need to revisit? I guess Kelsey brought it up. It's on there. If we need to, if you guys want to hold it over, I guess
Well, this was just a discussion, so then
Right.
maybe next month, we could come to. I just feel like I should have a key to that. Anybody on this board, or should have access to a key. I'm not really sure what the hierarchy is here in the town, but I'm pretty sure it starts with Terry. Correct? Then who comes next? Chad, can you help me with this, please?
I think the other four. are-
Supervisors.
Okay, and then who comes after that?
I don't know.
Department heads.
Department heads,
Okay,
yeah.
so we're being dictated, the town board's being dictated by what the fire department wants. Because they won't let me use that room if I want to use it one time a year without 24-hour notice. And I don't mean to be brutal, but I have the right to use it. Simple as that. And I shouldn't have to give notice.
My personal opinion, I don't want a key to the police department. I don't want a key to the fire
I'm
department.
not necessarily saying I need
Yeah.
want a key on my keychain.
But
I want a key to be I can access it at any moment.
even like the officer, I put out an order to keep everybody out at one time.
Yeah, well, we know how that all went.
So,
So from a hierarchy standpoint, I think you have absolutely have full authority to demand access into the room or request, I should say demand. Say, I would like access to the room, and that's true for all of the areas in the town, I think, as an elected official. I feel that that is available to myself anyway. I don't.
Okay, well, we're not going to get anywhere, so I guess we'll just be done with it. Because you're not understanding that I don't feel
No,
like I
no,
should have to
I'm-
give 24-hour notice. But
But-
if that's the way we're going to do it, because that's the way we've always
But-
done it, and it's the
But
way it's
sometimes the
always been.
notice is necessary. If the fire department has something scheduled, you know, they need to know that you want to use the room
Well,
if
if
they
I
have
walk in
something
here and there's
scheduled.
nobody in
I mean,
there.
this has been an issue maybe 3 times in the last 3 or 4 years, so it's not like it's a big burning issue. My own personal opinion is not a single member on this board should leave this building when it's closed. Period, unless you're here on official town business. That's my own personal opinion. And I don't come in this building when it's closed. I don't want access to this building when it's closed. I come in here to conduct business when this building is open. And that's the only time that I think anybody should be in this building.
Okay,
That's my
I guess the
opinion
discussion's
on it.
over then.
yeah.
And I don't know that giving a 24-hour notice is such a bad thing. I mean, because it does allow them to get in and move things if they need to. They're not denying us
I just
being
don't,
able
I
to
just think
use
someone
it.
could
But
break the window and unlock it and go in there and see everything if they really wanted to anyway. I mean, if we want to get down there nitty gritty. If they're leaving things out, that's another thing that scares me. If my personal information is being left out there when someone leaves for the night and comes back,
that's why it's locked.
but someone can get in.
Who?
Who knows?
We've got a pretty good security system.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I just feel like I should have the right to the room.
Could we,
So,
Matt, did you want to say something? Or?
I'd love to. On September 10th, 2013, Chairman Johnson confirmed the idea from the beginning. The use of the old library room was for the fire department, emergency government, and first responders, and was unsure where somebody had gotten the information that it wasn't that way.
Okay.
This is board minutes.
That's fine. But
So there it's
people have
designated.
changed on here now.
That's
which
true,
things
but
change.
this is when things were set up.
That's fine. And I'm not disagreeing that you guys can't have the room. I'm just saying that I feel like I should be able to go in there. If I come in and there's nobody in there and I want to use that room for a meeting, instead of using the one right next to Michelle and Brittany, I should be able to go in there and use it if it's open. That's all. And then so I'm probably going to use it maybe once a year if.
we move
That's
on.
fine. We'll move on.
Move on?
We all know
Okay.
how everybody feels.
Can I get a motion to go into public comment?
So
I'll second that. I got a motion by Bob, second by Terry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Who wants to start? We're in public comment. Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, Ralph, what are you gonna do about Lake Del Rey with this grant money or the other money? And people have been patiently waiting for a year. The basements got flooded, they were finished basements. I would think that would be a top priority for the people.
We work on that about daily. I've made phone calls this week.
There's nothing laid out that's gonna fix it yet, is there?
Once again, you're talking big money to fix that stuff.
Right,
That's
but they're
all.
talking big money with their flooded finished basements too.
We're talking a lot bigger money than that to fix it. We actually, we had an engineer come in. We had 3 different plans that we looked at to fix those items. They ranged, and I don't have it in front of me, but they ranged in price from very expensive to very, very expensive. And I'm currently
What were the
looking
numbers?
I don't have it in front of me.
198 or 93,000 to
Yeah, it was
200 and like
It's
60,000.
a lot of money. I am looking at one other plan right now, but the grant money cannot be used there.
That's designated for the south end. isn't it?
Correct. Yep, and it has
That's
to be used in a
income
specific area.
qualifying, so.
So it'd be nice if we could use that money. I would love to do it for that. I was actually on the phone last night with one of the residents in Lake Delray, talking to her about it some more. So it is very high on my priority list, but there's, as you can see, well, I don't need to tell you, there's an endless list. So we're gonna keep working on that. I got a plan I'm working on right now, but it's a little early in the game to say it's an actual definitive thing. So if I get that a little further, we'll put it out here to the public.
The most expensive plan is $1 million.
Yeah, the most expensive one was $1 million.
And we've talked about maybe a different one, but we gotta look at that a little bit more yet. So if that's not for Delray, that's for the other one.
So just to review on this, the state administrative code and statute assume that on storm, when you have a sewer utility, that if you have storm sewer, it's part of the sewer utility. So we have already got that in place from a storm sewer utility. Now, street drainage is specific to streets and roads. But if you're going to do collection and propagation, I guess is the best way to put it, treatment of or treatment thereof, that would fall into that. It can fall into that sewer utility parameter. Okay, so I'm in, and we need to kind of rally back on that a little bit, but working with Brent and Mike Davey, or Davey Engineering, Mike, and actually formalizing that so that it would be a budgetable item under sewer utility in 2019. Just can't do it in 2018. Now that's a bunch of stuff that's specific to the sewer agreement and all the other restrictions that we have, but once we get that in place, and I did talk to Carol at Town Association as well, so from an additional legal opinion when she read it generically, it's already, unless you define it separately, it's already included, it's already part of it. So we have that in place, it's already there, we're going to budget for it, we just have to do it in 19.
Okay.
So,
well, we'll just keep.
yeah, we need to get back together on it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Anything else, Bruce?
No, I don't.
Okay, anybody else? Public, go ahead, Lee.
I want to thank the street department for filling in the rock quarries that were out in front of the house.
Well,
Yeah, they were getting pretty
thank
bad.
April for a lot of them. The one in April killed us, hurt a lot. But we finally got to it, and yes.
My truck thanks you as well. Based on the comments from back here, I'm going to go back to item H. I don't. Trying to remember from when I was on the board what our argument was. What I got out of the conversation when we were talking about it, and I use conversation loosely, was that the reason why they didn't want to give up that room was because it was given to them and they may have stuff laying out. To my response to that was, okay, fine, not arguing with you about giving it to you, but if the possibility is there of those rooms or locking these documents up in such an organizational fashion that the individual could go back the next day and use it, knowing full well that it's possible that somebody could go back in there, then what is the big deal? And that was what my argument was. And based on that, the rest of the board basically said the exact same thing, was that, well, you don't need it. I don't feel like because it's mine is a valid excuse as to why somebody can't utilize a room in the town hall. I don't know if Kelsey, when I was on the board, I never came in the building unless I came in here prior to get my agendas. Never, I had, or a pre-scheduled meeting that Chad already knew about. So I don't know about coming into this building without anybody else here, but I have to agree with Kelsey in that it's unnecessary to be bickering back and forth about, well, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, when in fact it's ours. It's not yours, it's not yours, it's not yours, it's ours. And in the event that somebody needs to have a meeting in there, it shouldn't have to be. If I go to the fire or the police department, I can ring the buzzer, and like Kelsey said, it takes 2 seconds for a chief to walk out or one of the officers to walk out. For somebody to use that, there was an altercation where they needed it for, I think it was an interview or something or other, and somebody got mad about it that was on some department. I don't remember which one it was. So this bickering back and forth, when it started, well, Bruce and I were on the board, and I think it's been 3 years now. Let's grow up. It's got to end. Either say yes or no, or get off the pot. One of the two. That's my other 2 cents.
Anything else, Lee?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
I'm good? Okay. Anybody else? Can I get a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
I'll second that. Motion by Bob, second by Terry. Any further discussion? I'll call a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Can I get a motion to go into closed session, please?
Move to go into closed session pursuant to statute 19.85 sub 1 sub C. Scribble to it. C.
Yes, and I'll second that.
All right, on a roll call, Supervisor Crick? Supervisor Thorne?
Yes.
Chairman Schaller?
Yes.
Supervisor Brewer?
Yes.
Supervisor Wolford?
Yes.
We are in closed session.
That's crazy.
You had to
I'll second that.
first vote.
I got a motion by Ralph, second by Terry. Any further discussion? Call a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. We are in open session.
I wanted to get up and walk, sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you, actually, Kelsey, so I didn't have to. So hold
A little
over.
cold in here, I need a little bit of water.
So let's move down to 8A. Bob, do you want to describe that?
All right, I'll throw it out there, and you guys can either I'll strike it if I'm way off track. But I would move to have restrictive duties for town employee pending Dr. Note.
I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? I'll call a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
I'm abstaining.
Motion carries. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second
That's
that.
an easy one.
I have a motion by. Did you say it, Bob?
I did.
Bob. Second by Terry. Any further discussion? I'll call a motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.